Very warm welcome to the EdTech World Forum. Today we have with us one of India's biggest Bollywood stars, Mr. Vivek Oberoi. A lot of people also call him the Johnny Depp of India. And Vivek has had a very successful and a very long, acting career in Bollywood. But recently he's also kind of pivoted towards social impact initiatives across India and also now, spreading outside India. And we'd like to ask Vivek's view especially with regards to distant learning and how his initiatives are making an impact in India. So, Vivek, welcome to the forum. First of all, how are you?
Very well, thank you. And I'm really happy to be on a forum like yours, which is, filled with such incredible people coming from across so many geographies and creating a positive social impact in what I believe is an essential block, in the whole construction or the development of the future of the world, which
Yeah.
is the base, Neev ki Eent, we call it in India, which is the foundation stone of,
Okay.
of the future.
Fascinating. And Vivek, I would like to begin because I'm very conscious of the time frame. We will be running this tomorrow at the forum. Can I just begin briefly? I mean, from an amazing acting career, what inspired you to move into education?
Well, it started with a 100% nonprofit thought process. It started with empowering little girls that we were saving from child prostitution,
Wow.
from being physically abused, sexually abused, empowering them through education, healthcare, giving them career paths, giving them economic independence. That's how it started. So we ran a project called Devi, which is an acronym for Development and Empowerment of Vrindavan Girls Initiative, which has helped over the last 14 years more than 10,000 girls, rescued them, empowered them. And that was a complete free education thought process where, because they were so underprivileged as kids, we came in from that mindset. But then I realized that there are a lot of other gaps in the market,
Right.
Indian education system. And that's when, one of the things inspired me to join in with Colonel Nadella, the founder of iScholar, and build
Okay.
the way it is, build our i30 learning centers across India, because I saw that it served a major gap in the market.
Fascinating, fascinating. And Vivek, when you talk about the gaps, can you tell us briefly what gaps there are within the Indian education market?
Well, when we look at competitive exams, when we look at IIT, JEE, when we look at the aspirations of Bharat, rural India, right?
Right.
It's always towards, I want my child to be a doctor. I want my child to be an engineer. I want my child to get into banking or railways or, have a Indian Administrative Service exams, UPSC exams. These are the exams that in rural India, in second, third, fourth tier town India, have tremendous value. There's a lot of honor, respect associated if a child of your family achieves any one of these things. So therefore, this is the aspiration of every parent in
Right.
rural India. And unlike anywhere else in the world, children in India, their education most times is paid for by the parents. Parents believe that this is their duty as parents to provide a good education to help their children emerge from poverty and create value and wealth for themselves, the family, the community, and sometimes even the entire village. They're celebrated if they crack something like an IIT and make it through, because now they know that this kid is going to change the future of the village. And that's a story that has been told again and again and again over decades in India. The problem here is that there's a geographical divide, there's an economic divide, there's a divide of gender. And something that I love doing over the last 20 years as a philanthropist has been to do away with this divide, to try and create a level playing field for people, to try and give them that opportunity that they're denied, the platform that they're denied. What happens in India is the best quality teachers migrate to the urban areas. So you have the best teachers in India
Right.
and the most aspirational students in Bharat, right? Which is the name, the traditional name for India, which is outside of the urban areas.
Mm.
So suddenly you're looking at this big disparity. what is a kid who's bright, who has a sharp mind, has dreams in his eyes? What is that child's option? If you want to go and crack IIT, then you have to have either the financial wherewithal or a relative who lives in Mumbai where you can actually go physically and you can actually, attend classes there. Now, that's a very tough one because it's very expensive. The process of living there is very difficult. It's isolating. You've heard of the Kota factory, which is, this place where kids just go and pay for an education and live there. It's like a whole student town, but it's very expensive, and especially for rural kids and parents, it's a very, very difficult exercise. The second thing that happens is, beyond the geographical divide, is the divide on gender. So
Right.
India is very traditional in their mindset. My son is allowed to go and study in another city in a urban center, but my daughter, no, she stays under my nose. She lives, in the village. So the son is given the opportunity, but the daughter has said, no, no, you just got to do with whatever is best in the village. You can't go to any fancy, urban city or town. You're not allowed. And the reality in rural India today, right? So girls suffer the most on this. And then there's the economic divide, right? So, for example, you have classes in rural India where the teacher who's teaching you how to crack NEET or IIT has never cracked it. Because if
True.
they had cracked the exam, if they had passed, they wouldn't be living in the rural areas. They would have moved to urban centers. They would have been trying to aspire for a better life and more wealth.
True.
So you're only getting those who are trying to train you how to do something they've never done. And yet
Fascinating.
they charge exceptionally high
Right. Right.
fees for those classes because they say, well, within this area, we're the best. So, what did iScholar do that was so disruptive? We took the best teachers in India that were living in centers. We created a proprietary two-way pipe, right, that can compress and decompress video information live
Wow.
and take an interactive two-way class through phygital classrooms. So while the
Yeah.
physical presence of the classroom is still in the rural areas, it
Yeah.
is being operated live by our teachers on a 1:30 basis only. So this is two-way interaction, very focused
Sure.
teacher-student interactions. Again, powered by our own AI, powered by our own backend that grabs data, information all the time, and gives a
Sure.
full back loop not only to students but also to teachers if the students miss out on something. Now, what
Wow.
it does is it allows rural kids to participate at the highest quality of teaching. You actually have IITians, you have actually people who are experts at NEET training you, and that's reflecting in our numbers even in the earliest of stages. We had, for example, 30% plus people cracking NEET from all the kids who we trained, and that was a very difficult exam to crack. Most agencies who attempt it get 4-5% results. So we're seeing the positive impact. We're also being able to do it at a fraction of the price
Wow.
because it's a digital structure. We're able to do it at sometimes half, sometimes a third of what other classes are charging.
Fascinating.
Also being able to bring it pre-financed, right? Interest-free financing that is broken up into small, easy, digestible installments. That's not too much of a single load on a family. So we've created a beautiful social ecosystem that empowers girls, that
Wow.
empowers people who don't have privilege, who are not wealthy, and necessarily may not be able to afford an education of that quality. We're bringing it to them at the cheaper price, right?
Yeah.
At sometimes, like I said, a third of the price, and it's
Sure.
extremely highly qualitative. And I think that's the secret to our success, and that's why we've gone up to 100 centers in less than 2 years, and a
Wow.
project
Very
end of
impressive.
the year we should be between 200 and 300 centers.
Wow. That's an amazing target.
Yeah.
Um, Vivek, I mean, expanding it so quickly, I'm sure it must have many challenges to it. But tell me briefly, because we are at a forum where everybody's watching you, and they're going to be looking forward to understand how you guys are using technology. So, what do you think? How is i30 using edtech or digital technologies? Just tell us briefly about that.
So there's two or three ways, right? The first is, like I mentioned, the proprietary pipe. So even when there is no 4G connection, even if it's a very antiquated 2G connection in a remote area, the way our pipe is structured is we're able to deliver quality two-way communication, right? That's the first part. That's the proprietary tech piece. The second piece is how we've combined syllabus, made it regional friendly. What's happening is a lot of kids who are from the rural parts of India. I speak, say, Kannada, and I'm a kid from a village. I'm bright, I'm great at what I do, but English is holding me back because I receive all the information very well in English. So then I start feeling insecure. I start dropping out. I'm not able to grasp in class. Those are correct because our teachers are also able to communicate in regional languages and fill those buckets. Then the kind of constant examinations that we run, the little tests that we run to understand what we have communicated, what the teachers have taught, how well it has been received and understood. And that feedback loop is given instantly to teachers, right? So a teacher now knows in this class of 30, 12 kids didn't understand one particular concept. Was it language? Was it the concept? Was it the way the teacher taught that concept on that day? Then you have 24/7 doubt clearing. So at any point in time, I could be studying at 3 in the morning, and if I want to clear doubts, I have access to the entire repository of lectures across everywhere. Then I've got access to a live chat that I can actually type in, and I
Wow.
can get this in, and across languages, right? Not just English. So
Okay.
this made it very, very helpful for regional India. And that's why I think iScholar is getting so much positive traction to go into other parts of Southeast Asia. We've already got very serious interest in the Middle East, Africa, because aside from competitive exams, the structure in itself can be held and utilized for upskilling, upgrading, everything. So there's two pieces to the tech.
Mhm. Fascinating. And Vivek, I mean, you mentioned it's going to South Asia and Africa and Middle East. So is your ambition for this to go completely global?
That is right. I think we have some serious interest from large financial organizations that want us to go public. I think we should be able to go public within maybe 12 to 18 months with this company, maybe sooner. At the growth that we're growing, we're on track to grow. We grew 10 times last year. We're on track to go 10 times this year again, uh,
Wow.
which is amazing. I mean, in terms of total reach and number of students, and maybe
Amazing growth.
two to
That's
three
amazing. Yeah.
our infrastructure reach, but exponential growth and a lot of interest from overseas saying, look, we love what you're doing and can you come and do something like this for us?
Yeah.
Uh, when you make a technology that's India proof, that deal with all the problems that you come with infrastructure or the problems that Bharat faces, India faces, rural India faces, then a very robust piece that fits in beautifully in the rest of Southeast Asia and the rest of Africa, rather than a European or an American technology that has to then further come in and adapt, itself in these newer markets.
How fascinating. How fascinating. So you're basically, it's like an organic Indian product which you're taking across the globe. I
That
think
is
that's an amazing success story. Vivek, I wanted to ask you, given the constraint of time we have, I just want to ask you one basic question. It's obvious you're passionate about it, making a social impact and education. What is your vision for education in India?
I think it's the great equalizer. A good education, as long as we can create that platform for kids, give them a good education, you empower, enable them to be anything. I've seen it with more than 10,000 girls. Girls we've rescued at the age of 11, 9, 12, who've never written E. And now at the age of 15, 16, in 4 or 5 years, given that one opportunity, given that one chance, have turned their lives around, empowered themselves through education, working on computers. Some of them have got scholarships to international universities.
Uh-huh.
Proud of that. And I feel that it comes from giving these hungry children an opportunity to prove themselves. And education is that. Education is what can put them on the global stage and make them truly shine. And that's why I believe that education is the key for transformation.
Fascinating, fascinating. Nick, so I mean, on a very lighter note and towards the very end, um, you are part of one of the biggest film industries in the world, which is called Bollywood.
That is
With this initiative, has your fraternity Bollywood stars come out and reached out to you? Have they tried to get involved in this project? What has been the response from Bollywood stars in India?
fascinating that you say that. There's been some fantastic response. In fact, 2 days from now, we're announcing the announcement of another celebrity who's joining us and partnering us with the Maharashtra Circle and wants to help develop the Maharashtra Circle, because not
Right.
only kind of an association profitable, but it's extremely mentally rewarding, right? Spiritually and socially rewarding. So it makes you feel that you're actually creating positive social impact, and at the same time financially, it's a very rewarding exercise too. So I like that double whammy. I like that combination where you're creating positive social impact, and at the same time you're probably going to end up making 10, 20x on your investment in a 2 to 3 year cycle. Now that's fantastic, because you are solving a real problem in the market, and therefore you're being rewarded for being able to create that holistic solution.
Super, super. I think it's an amazing, amazing initiative. Vivek, just on a lighter note, before we end the interview, because we all love Bollywood films and we've seen all of your films, which are amazing. Your recent projects in India are, they include one of the biggest web series called The Indian Police Force, and you're also doing a film with Jacqueline Fernandez by Pradeep Sarkar. What's your interest level in Indian films or filmed in general right now? And what do you have in pipeline? Can you share something with us very briefly?
Well, you just mentioned it, and so I'm doing this film with Pradeep Sarkar. I'm doing
Mm,
Rohit Shetty's Super Cop universe, where Indian Police Force is a very exciting show that we're doing together. And
definitely.
I just finished shooting with Sunil Shetty, a show where I play the good guy, he plays the bad guy. It's called Dharavi Bank. It's a show for MX. It's one of their biggest shows. So very excited about that. I'm having a great time acting, producing, doing a whole bunch of fun stuff with content. I think this has been a sunrise moment for content in India, especially with the OTTs doing so well. The advent of Netflix, Amazon, Disney Hotstar,
True, true. I think
on
it's doing amazing.
all
Absolutely.
have been fantastic. Uh,
Fascinating.
but enjoy it, is still very passionate about it. But the kind of positive social impact that I'm able to do with these kind of companies like iScholar is extremely fulfilling on another level.
No doubt, no doubt. Vivek, we are so grateful to you for your time today, and I'm so confident that everyone in the audience and globally will definitely enjoy this interview, and we will definitely look forward to hearing more about your initiatives as and when they come, and hopefully you will join us back in London when the next one is taking place in 2023. So, on that note, thank you so much for joining us, and viewers, that is it, and we shall be hopefully sharing this video with all the delegates after the event is finished as well. So we will end it here now, Vivek, and I'll stop the recording. Give me one
Thank
second. So